Okay, hey guys, Matthew Torres here and Matt Gregory here at the scene of where two National Guardsmen were shot at Farragut Square. We've been here really from the beginning. We were both at the press conference listening to the very updates from federal and local authorities. Matt, I want to ask you first your takeaway from what you heard from that press conference.
So the thing that I took away, and I think we're seeing it really still playing out now, is the work that's being done by both federal and local partners. I mean, I think that's the thing that makes D.C. unique to any other city, is that when there is a crime, there are 4 to 5, maybe even up to 9 different jurisdictions of police that are all in that corner. So we're seeing federal work hand in hand with MPD, our local police, and it looks like this investigation is getting sort of the full firepower, as we heard from the FBI Director Kash Patel, of all of those different law enforcement agencies working together. What was your sort of takeaway from the investigation, what you learned?
Well, no, first off, so the shooting happened around 2:15 here at Farragut Square. They're describing it as an ambush attack. As far as the National Guardsmen, this suspect just went around the corner and started really shooting at them. And so that's really the extent of the information that we learned. We are learning that this was a lone gunman, according to authorities. They're not looking for any other suspects. We don't know the type of weapon. We know from witnesses that multiple gunshots were fired. So, and really the motive being unclear exactly why, that's obviously the big question.
Yeah, and we're also hearing from sources that the suspect was taken to GW hospitals, what we're hearing, and that was kind of confirmed by what we saw. Secret Service as well as MPD outside of GW Hospital. And then we heard our colleague Katie Lusso talking about seeing at MedStar Washington Hospital Center rather, that they were seeing right there that is potentially where the National Guardsmen were taken to, and obviously National Guardsmen were there sort of standing by, as well as Secret Service. Yeah. So we're getting a better idea from our sources of what the aftermath is looking down the line.
Yeah, and the two guardsmen who were shot, they're from West Virginia. And of course there was the confusion earlier because the governor in West Virginia initially said that they were dead. But lo and behold, that currently they're actually in critical condition. But the condition is still obviously something that we're trying to figure out as well. But also the suspect, also in the hospital. We don't know the extent of this suspect's condition. Could this person be able to speak, provide more information, and hopefully motive has yet to be seen.
And what we'll see the rest of tonight is they have to go over every part of this, law enforcement does, every part of the scene with a fine-tooth comb. That's why the floodlights are out now. In order to build your case in a courtroom, you're going to need evidence that's not tampered with, evidence that's been obtained here by forensics units, ballistics units, as well as DNA. And all of that will help to craft what we will see going forward, but it all starts tonight, and that's why the scene has not gotten smaller as the day has gone on.
And it starts tonight, the eve of Thanksgiving. Both you and I were able to speak to witnesses. You spoke to a man from Georgia. I spoke to a woman who was in an Uber ride, trying to get to her dry cleaning. She heard boom, boom. She heard the gunshots, and then she heard saw kids and adults then scurrying away. She said she heard someone yelling for help twice. So you can really tell just how this has really impacted people. In fact, this woman I spoke to, she didn't know that they were actually shot, these two guardsmen. I broke it to her, and you could really see the immediate reaction of her being shocked, saying this is crazy. Of course, this is happening in the district where the National Guard troops have been here, the ongoing conversation of should they be here in the first place, but now President Trump is wanting more.
Yeah, we're hearing that Secretary of Defense or Secretary of War, depending on which terminology you're going to use, Pete Hegseth is asking for 500 additional troops. He says on the order of the president, additional troops, I should say, National Guardsmen, right, to come to the district. So we'll see if that comes to fruition, because at the same time there are several outstanding court cases regarding the actual deployment of National Guardsmen or federalizing them for the district. So there's so much within this that we're going to see over the next couple days, but then also the next couple weeks.
Exactly, and of course WSA9 will be staying on top of this. We have several crew members out here today covering every angle as much as possible, from here at the scene to the hospital. You can go to WSA9.com for the very latest.